Okay, so we are going to get started. So good morning or afternoon, depending on where you're located right now. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, 7 Reasons to Move Your Testing Software to the Cloud. I'm Kali Roberts, Marketing Coordinator here at Biddle Consulting Group, and I'm going to be moderating today's webinar. So we're going to jump on over to some housekeeping items. So we've taken a screenshot of an example of the attendee interface. You should see something like this right now on your own computer screen in the upper right-hand corner. By default, you're listening using your speaker's system, but if you want to join over the phone, just select telephone in the audio pane and the dial-in information will be displayed. You will have an opportunity to submit some text questions to today's presenters by typing into the questions pane of your control panel. You can send these in at any time and we will try to address them, but in case we don't have the time, we have a short Q&A session at the end where we will gather all those questions and get them answered for you. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mike Callan, who will jump straight into today's content.
Good morning, and thank you very much, Kali, and thank you to everyone who is in attendance this morning. As Kali said, my name is Mike Callan. I'm the VP of Products at Biddle Consulting Group, and we've been in the automated skill and ability testing market for many years now, dating all the way back to 1993, and we've had several product names and acronyms floating about. So I want to just kind of give you a roundup in terms of who we are and what our products are, because we've recently made some changes in terms of the product suite name. So again, Biddle Consulting Group is our company, and our product is TestGenius. And the TestGenius, which is the suite, contains OPAC, CritiCall, C4, and a few other skill and ability testing products. So we'll be speaking generically about TestGenius today. This webinar is targeting mainly the CritiCall clients, but as well, I know there's some OPAC clients on here also. So first of all, in terms of getting started and introducing the topic, we want to talk about what does cloud-based mean. And the first point, of course, is very pertinent. It resides on the web or on the internet, but that's not really the whole story. There are web-based products. In fact, we had a first version of an online testing product that was, in fact, web-based, but it was not cloud-based. And the reason being is that the applicants, as they went to take the tests, had to actually download and install a plugin product, and then that plugin product downloaded and ran the content. With the cloud-based system, everything resides on the web. There are no local data storage, either on the applicant side or on the client side, and the software requires no plugins or installs at all. So it's just a very important distinction to make. One of the main advantages of our TestGenius online product or cloud-based system has to do with the variety of test administrations that are available. Those of you who are on the webinar today, for the most part, you are clients of the installed product. So you have an installed product either on a standalone workstation or on a server, and you are used to asking people to come in and test locally in a proctored setting where they're able to test. You collect the scores and then you send them home, and you can determine who you want to move on to the next step in the recruitment. Well, with our online product, we also have the proctored testing, but we also have an invitation management system that allows you through the system to import or manually enter a group of applicants for a specific test for a specific position, and those folks will get emails with instructions to come into your office during such and such time and to be prepared to spend so much time to take the tests. They'll be asked to either print out a copy of this email invitation or take a cell phone photo of it because it contains a code, and that code is all they need once they enter your environment to be able to enter into the testing computers, and the TestGenius online product will automatically know who they are. It will know what tests have been assigned, what cutoff scores have been set, and those types of things. So proctored testing is the first test administration mode. The second administration mode is the unproctored testing with email invitation. Unproctored testing we call bunny slipper testing. And the reason that we say that is the links are sent out, and usually people are given a week or several days in order to go through and take their tests. So they're able to choose the time when is most convenient for them to sit down and in the comfort of their own home go through and do the testing. This is, of course, again, handled by the email management system. The third type of administration is the static link unproctored testing. And some organizations use this particular method of distributing the testing. And the way that they would do that would be to put a link onto a page on their website. So for instance, they might have a position that's open, and they might say to any people who are interested in applying for this test, click this link and take the test to see if you qualify, on the front end. And so in this particular instance, the applicant would click the static link, it would launch our program from their own home, and they would have to self-register into the system. So they would provide their first name, their last name, and their email address, and then they would go on through the tests that were assigned to that particular link. So those are the three ways that the system is available for testing administration. Again, the biggest differentiation between the installed product and the online product is the ability to have unproctored testing, where people are able to test from home. And there's a couple different reasons why you might want to be able to offer unproctored testing. The first reason is you're casting a broader net. Obviously, when you have people who have to come into your location for testing, that very often precludes folks who might have to drive a long distance or even fly in. And so there are no geographic constraints either nationally or even globally in terms of using the online unproctored testing. Another advantage is that there's a definite reduction in terms of internal resources, and that would be the computers, the IT staff, even the receptionists or folks who would be involved in doing ID verification when people step in to take tests locally. And the third reason is that it's very safe. Now, and I say this, in our testing, we're dealing with hard skills and abilities. So people are given an opportunity to show what it is that they can do in an environment that's similar to the work environment. And so this is a really great situation in which the unproctored testing can be used. There are also many settings or opportunities where unproctored testing isn't appropriate, and we have some solutions for proctoring, which we'll talk to you about a little bit later. So in terms of making this migration, what are some reasons why it would be a good idea to move to the cloud? One of the main issues that we have with maintaining a software product with thousands of clients is that we have to try to keep people on the same version. And so in order to do that, we have to send out a lot of DVDs. We have to send them to the right person. We have to have that person get in touch with the IT people and upgrade the software programs. And what we find out, of course, is that people are very often on many different versions. In some cases, there's different installations within the same organization that are on different versions. And so with the cloud-based system, you never have to worry about any sort of installations or upgrades because they're all handled remotely on one single cloud-based system. Another advantage is, as mentioned earlier, the applicants don't have to deal with any sort of plugins or downloads. It's a very simple process. And the data, of course, is maintained by us on our server. A couple other reasons. As I mentioned earlier, we started in the automated skills testing back in 1993. And so over time, there have been tests that were developed in different environments at different screen resolutions. And so we didn't really take the opportunity to go back through and redo all the tests for consistency. In this case, on the cloud-based system, we literally went through and we reconstructed every single one of the tests. So they all have a common look and feel. They use the same fonts. They have operate in the same screen resolution, that sort of thing. Our prior systems have only been compatible with Windows. The cloud system is technology agnostic. So folks who want to use Apple iOS devices either for test administration or for applicant testing, no problem at all. We were very fortunate. A lot of folks in the testing space spend a lot of time and money on Flash-based systems, and unfortunately for them, Flash ended up having a lot of security issues, and so therefore it's actually dying on the vine right now. It's not being supported by many browsers, and really those Flash-based products are going away. We were very fortunate. We invested at the last 2 years of time into a product that's based on HTML5 and JavaScript, which are probably the two most universal and ubiquitous languages for this kind of product. And of course, it's compatible with the most recent versions of the 4 popular browsers. A final reason why folks might want to move to the cloud has to do with accessibility. There's been a really strong focus in recent years on trying to engage folks who might require a little bit of accommodation in terms of the testing and hiring processes. And so much of the software was not written in such a way, and many of the languages weren't constructed in a way that they lent themselves to the kind of accessibility and accommodation programs like screen readers and magnifiers and those kinds of things, or even the JAWS program, which is probably the most common screen reading program in the market. And so this particular product, the cloud-based system for TestGenius, was written with accessibility in mind. We have a very strong VPAT, which is a Section 508 report available. And if any of you are interested in receiving a copy of our VPAT report, just let us know and we'll be happy to send that off to you. One kind of final reason, and I'll click through a few screens here as to why to move to the cloud. So we have, as you're all aware, we have canned tests, pre-formatted tests that sort of mimic different duties that are performed on the job. We also have always had a test writer program installed, but it's been, very limited and of course only locally administered. So we have a brand new test writer program that has a whole variety of item types, test types that are available that weren't available in the old system. Here's a copy of an agreement item, and this is used to help with the testing security. So anytime where you want to go ahead and you want to give somebody a test and you want to ask them ahead of time, you want to give them some sort of disclosure or disclaimer, and you want to make sure that they agree to continue, that you can use an agreement item. And so in this particular case, unless they answer yes, the testing session will end and they will not be able to continue forward. Another type of item, of course, is multiple choice, and this is really the mainstay for the written test. The multiple choice items can incorporate images like you see here, videos, sound files, documents such as PDFs, links, formatting, those kinds of things. We also have a new test item type, which is drag and drop, and you can drag and drop and or sort. So in this case, you have dog and a cat image on the left. You can drag those over to the appropriate locations on the right. We've also included Likert items. Likert items, think of surveys. They're not scored per se, but each each one has a value. So if you want to ask people, for instance, how was your candidate experience? They could say it was mostly fantastic, it was somewhat fantastic, it was good, or it was poor, whatever. And then each of the ratings that you receive will have values, and you can collect those ratings and then generate a report. Keyboarding has been in the product since 1993. We have a variety of canned keyboarding tests for different testing environments. We also have a custom keyboarding. So if you want to give some sort of document that you want to ask people to type, which would contain terminology or nomenclature from your specific industry, then you can create a custom keyboarding test and administer that. As well, we have proofing or proofreading. So in this particular case, you can create a document that has errors of any type. You can name those error types, and then you can have people go through and make corrections to those errors and keep track of the results. In this particular case, we have errors in abbreviation, capitalization, grammar, number usage, etc. So sort of in summary, why is it that we want to go to the cloud? We do have a brand new testing platform that has all new tests. We have a brand new item banking system, which is our test writer program. As well, we have, based upon feedback from you, our clients, we've added a training aspect to the program, and Sean Conant is going to talk about that next. But probably the most exciting reason why people should migrate to the cloud, other than some of the reasons I mentioned earlier, have to do with when you have cloud-based products, it becomes abundantly, opportunities become available for us to integrate other products and services that will increase the value of the recruitment process. And so after Sean talks a little bit about the Microsoft Office training, I'd like to introduce to you the folks from Examity, which is a remote proctoring solution, from HireLink, which is a applicant tracking system or HR management system integration solution that actually links the TestGenius software to the applicant tracking system. Dotin, which is a personality and learning style testing solution that literally takes 60 seconds to complete. It's an incredible product. Verified First and their background checking solution, and True North, which really is the most incredible language testing solution, automated language testing solution that I've ever run into before. So these 5 partners are really best of class folks. Their solutions are best practices. We have worked with their technical folks to incorporate our products together, and we've had really great experiences in terms of working with them, the caliber of their systems and the caliber of their personnel, and I think that you're going to be really excited about the products that they offer. So with that, Kali, why don't you go ahead and transition us.
Thanks, Mike. And now we're going to jump straight over to Sean, who's going to talk to us about the Microsoft Office training.
Thanks, Mike and Kali. Sean Conant here. Hello, everyone. I am the training product specialist here at Biddle Consulting Group. And as mentioned, just wanted to take a quick second to chat with you about our newest Microsoft Office skills training software. So as Mike touched on, over the years, many of our testing clients had reached out to inquire about a training tool for new hires and existing employees or students, but we didn't have one available until now. The TestGenius suite now offers the Microsoft Office training module that features unlimited training in Microsoft Word, Excel, Outlook, and PowerPoint. And an administrator can create a training consisting of a full title, part of a title, or a mixed combination of the many. The training is completely unlimited, so you can train as many folks as you'd like using the online platform. Mike, could I get that next slide, please? So administering training is very easy in the platform. You simply select the training you wish to assign. You're going to enter your trainee's information consisting of a first name, a last name, and an email address. And as mentioned, you can invite as many folks as you'd like. So let's say, for example, you had 24 trainees you wish to invite. You can actually import directly from an Excel spreadsheet to save yourself a bit of time there. And each trainee will receive an email link directly to that training. Next slide, please. As the trainees log in using the link that you've provided, they're taken to our training dashboard, and here it's really just a holistic view of any and every training they've been assigned. So if you take a look at the graphic there, you'll see that I've completed 3 out of 11 trainings I've been assigned. I have 2 currently in progress and 6 that have been completely unattempted. Currently, I've invested 6 hours, and I have a deadline or a due date of January 30th, 2020. So really a good way for your trainees to keep track or to monitor their own progress in the software. Next slide, please, Mike. We want to talk about the fundamental aspects of the simulations here. The most fundamental aspect is going to be the progressive nature. So the training is actually provided in 3 tiers. As you can see at the bottom of the graphic there, you're asked to perform a function in the software, just like our testing programs. And if you know how to perform the function, you can do so outright, first and foremost. So if you know how to get from point A to point B, doesn't matter how you do so as long as you do it correctly in the software. You can move right along to the next item. The second option there, if you look toward the bottom right, you see the hint area. So if you're fairly certain but not quite sure of how to perform the task being asked of you, you can ask the program to provide you a hint, and it'll give you a step-by-step tutorial of how to complete that function. Your third and final option there is you can ask the program to show you using the Show Me option in the bottom right here. And that gives you a full-blown tutorial. It takes complete control of your trainee's screen, and it's going to provide audio and visual instructions as to how they complete that function. Now, as you've been trained on how to perform the task, you want to go ahead and show the software that you've learned those actions by performing the function on your own. And then next slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry. And the second most fundamental aspect, of course, is going to be the functionality of the simulation. So as Mike touched on before I jump ahead, we have the simulations are all HTML5 and JavaScript. So every tab and button in these simulations are going to react and respond just like the live Office software. And then finish up here with our reporting page. So the training module requires literally no supervisor oversight. As long as you've assigned the trainings, they can go in at their leisure and complete some of those tasks. The program's completely self-scoring, and all the activity is going to be documented in the form of training reports. So your trainees have access to their own training reports using the training dashboard, while administrators have the ability to go ahead and monitor and review any training reports directly from the admin program. So it's a great tool for new and existing employees or students alike, but it's very user-friendly. We love to say that it's simple, but it's an elegant training tool. So thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Now Steve will talk to us about Examity.
Thanks, Kelly. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about Examity and our online proctoring or remote proctoring solution. So at its very core, what we do is we proctor tests using a webcam and a microphone on either a laptop, which can be a PC, a Mac, or even a Chromebook. And we also use screen sharing software, so the proctor can view both the desktop of the test taker as well as what they're doing. What their face is doing, what are they looking at the screen, or they're not looking at the screen, things like that. So just to give you a little bit of background on who we are, we entered the online testing market in 2013, so we're in our 7th year. What we saw was an opportunity to develop a really holistic solution to problems that we were seeing customers having in online testing, where there was a requirement to have a proctored component. So since that time, we've grown a lot. We'll do just over 2 million proctored tests this year, which is the most we've ever done in a year. We're up to about 1,000 full-time proctors, which are all employees of Examity. So we don't use any third parties. like some of the other players in the space. The other thing that I always like to point out is our proctors are never switched during an exam. So if you start with Steve Winicki proctor, you're going to end with him. It's very distracting when you have proctors kind of switch and move around during the exam. And then lastly, we've been recognized by some external bodies like Deloitte as being one of the fastest growing education technology companies in North America for the second year in a row. We took in a fairly sizable investment from a private equity group earlier this spring, which will help us continue to innovate and bring better security and more advanced solutions using artificial intelligence to the marketplace. Next slide, Mike. So I want to talk a little bit about a concept that we coined called learning validation. And really at its heart is ensuring that if you need a proctored component to your exams, it's done securely and you're getting the outcome you want. You don't have people cheating. You're identifying the individual is who they say they are, those sorts of things. And what we found is really the advantage that we bring is we've developed a system where all types of proctoring, and I'll talk about those types in just a second, are delivered from one single platform. So there's not multiple platforms, there's no downloads or plugins that need to be installed depending on what type of proctoring you're using. So it really is as simple as having a web browser available. And to that end, our solution's been developed to be very flexible. So you may have a program that you want the most security, live proctoring, low ratio proctoring, best in class. And then you might have some tests that you need proctored, but maybe you just need to verify identity, or you need a lighter solution. And that really kind of falls into our automated or technology-enabled proctoring solution. So our approach really breaks down into three key categories: ID verification, automated proctoring, and live proctoring. So ID verification is pretty straightforward and is kind of what it says. We're verifying identity of the user that comes to take a test. So we want to make sure that if Steve Winicki is scheduled to take a test, he is who he says he is. And we do that with a three-step process. First step is we're going to have the test taker show their ID in the webcam, and the proctor is going to confirm the ID that we have on file, the ID that the test taker brought to the exam, and the video picture of them in the webcam are all matching. The second part of that process is we're going to ask them to answer a security challenge question that they previously set up as their part of their profile creation process with us. And then last, we're going to have them do a biometric typing sample, which is actually pretty interesting technology. And the way it works is they're going to type in their first name and last name, and first name and last name, and first name and last name one more time. And we're going to create a unique digital record based on the cadence that they type. And this is going to be an exercise that they do during that authentication process with the proctor. And we're going to confirm that it's a match. So if you have somebody who's typed really fast when they set up their profile, and then, it takes them, 10 times as long when they come in to take their test, that brings up a red flag to us that, okay, this person may not be who they say they are. So just another way for us to ensure identity. Second category is automated proctoring, or what we like to call technology-enabled proctoring, which is backed by artificial intelligence and machine learning. And so how that works is we're going to confirm the identity of the user and monitor them via software that's running in the background. Not a piece of software they have to download, completely web-based, but we're going to flag any behaviors that may come up during the exam, whether it's changes in the environment, or they're moving in or out of the webcam, or there's some really strange noises going on that could be talking. So our system's going to flag all that automatically. And then last is what we call live proctoring. Our flagship solution, about 95% of the tests that we proctor are of the live variety. It's pretty simple. We confirm identity. We monitor the test taker in real time with proctors that have an IT background, so they can troubleshoot if something does come up. And the good news about all of these solutions, it's all integrated with TestGenius. So you don't have to worry about finding another solution to deliver the test. It's all seamless for the user, straightforward, easy for them to use, and ultimately gives them a great experience. Next slide, Mike. So just want to talk about a couple things that really set us apart from everybody else doing online testing. First, our platform's incredibly stable. I think we've had about 5 minutes of system downtime this year. So one of the things we really pride ourselves up is having the system up, 99.99% of the time. Second is the size and position of our company in the marketplace has allowed us to continually invest and bring new technology to the table. One of the things we're currently working on is integrating a fully facial recognition solution into our existing ID solution, which will again add an extra layer of security to the process. Third, all of our clients are integrated. So I talked a little bit about we've integrated with TestGenius, but regardless, all 500 of our customers are integrated. What we truly believe is that without a solid integration, the experience both from a client standpoint and a test taker standpoint isn't going to be optimal, and that's our goal, is to have it be a really good experience. Fourth, our services include a robust reporting and analytical package that runs in the background. So not only do you get exams proctored by us, you also get data on what happens during the exam. Everything's fully recorded and flagged. So if something does happen during the exam, somebody tries to cheat, not only do we know about it and flag it, but you get to see what happens. And then of course you get to make a decision on what needs to happen moving forward. And then last, and I don't think this would surprise anybody, test takers these days have very high expectations from a support standpoint. So we offer 3 support channels that are available 24/7, 365, and that's phone, email, and chat. So however they want to get in touch with us, if they have a challenge, or they're trying to schedule and they don't know what to do, or they're trying to get their webcam going, we're always there to help them out. Next slide, Mike. And then just quickly on the process, your tests that are in TestGenius stay in TestGenius. They don't come into our system at any point in time, so it will always stay where it is. So really just a couple of things that you have to do is get this set up. Select what security level, proctoring level that you want to use, whether that's live or a automated technology enabled solution. Second, you need to tailor any of the exam rules. So if there's something specific that you want us to do on your behalf, we're glad to do that. And then it's really in the test taker's hands. So, you create a period of time that they're able to take the test, whether, that's a week, 2 weeks, or maybe for some of your tests you have it open all the time. They come to us, they create a profile and schedule. From there, on test day, we're going to verify identity. We're going to proctor the test. You're going to get results on the back end with the analytics and the audio and video of the session, and if anything occurs, you'll be able to take any action, like I mentioned earlier. Last slide, Mike.
Sorry about that. Something happened along the way. Sorry.
No worries. And I'd just like to thank the Biddle Group for inviting me to present today. And if anybody has any questions about Examity or our solutions or integration with TestGenius, please reach out to me, either phone or email. I'd be happy to answer anything. Back to you, Kelly.
Thank you. So now we're going to move on, and Jeremy is going to introduce us to HireLink.
Thanks. To just introduce myself and to give you an overview of what HireLink is, my name is Jeremy Kohler. I am the Senior Product Manager over here at HireLink. And what HireLink is, kind of like how Mike alluded to, is HireLink simply is an integration solution that will allow you to be able to have access to the TestGenius platform, and no matter what system you might be using for your hiring practices. So whether that's an ATS or a hiring system, HireLink will allow you to have access to TestGenius. And so when we talk about integrations, there's a lot of different types of integrations and how they work, but most importantly, it's the functionality of what the integration does for you. So what HireLink will allow you to do is send assessments from TestGenius to candidates. It will allow you to check the status of those orders, and then also view scores and view the full-blown score report, all within inside the system you're using. So whether you're a center director, a training officer, HR admin, or a recruiter, this will allow you to stay in the system you're used to doing all your hiring in and have access to the TestGenius platform. So that being said, I wanted to show you a couple screenshots of what the integration looks like. Now I'm going to show you an example inside of a system called Taleo, but keep in mind it works with any web-based hiring system or ATS. So whether you're using Taleo, Workday, iCIMS, Newton, you name it, it works the exact same way inside of it. So our integration, simply put, is the TestGenius integration built inside of browser extension. And so if you're not familiar with browser extensions, simply put, they're just apps like the apps you have on your phone. The only difference is instead of this app being on your phone, it's inside your browser. So as you can see in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, we have a little app that's open. And what this app is the TestGenius integration. And so what the integration is really good at is identifying candidate information on the page. And so if you wanted to place an order for this particular candidate, you'd open up the integration, you'd see this information, you'd verify that the information in the integration is the same on the page, and then you just click Start Process. Once you click Start Process, a new window will open up that will allow you to go ahead and place an order and fill out an order form. And so that's what this screen looks like right here. So we'll give you a list of all the assessments that are associated with your TestGenius account. You can select the assessment that you want to invite this particular candidate to, and then hit submit. Once you hit submit, TestGenius will send out the typical invitations that they send out to candidates, and in turn, the extension will update. And that extension will update with the status, so no matter whether they've been invited or whether they completed the assessment, you'd always have access to where they're at in that hiring process. So once they've completed it, the extension will update and look like this. We'll give you a little information about the candidate at the top of the integration. We'll also give you all the scoring for that particular test. And so each individual module or section of the test will be broken out, and you'll have an individual score, just like you're used to seeing inside of the TestGenius platform if you've already started using it. And so you'll see all the scoring, and then at the bottom we will also give you a view results button where you can click and get access to the full-blown results for this particular candidate. And so it's a great way that you can not only invite people to complete an assessment, but you can view the results, view the statuses, and it works inside of any system. So we can make sure that you can use TestGenius without having to jump in between 2 or 3 systems to be able to do your hiring process. So very simple integration, very easy to use, and best part about it is it can be set up in a matter of minutes. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the BIDL Consulting Group, or I'd be happy to answer questions myself by just shooting me an email at jeremy@hirelink.io. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeremy. So now we're moving on to dotin, and Ashish is going to tell us more about what they do.
Thank you, Kali. Ashish here from dotin, and very happy to be a part of this ecosystem. A lot of exciting partners and overall functionality, and here just to talk a little bit about what we do. So dotin, we have a very unique assessment process. Our assessment takes about 1 minute, and we can basically get through the process without asking any questions. So this slide here shows the science behind what I'm talking about. And the way that we kind of have converged our path here is by building upon what was studied in the 1960s in marketing. Think back to business school for some of you folks, where the correlation between brand and color was studied quite deeply, where certain brands would use color to invoke a response. So a clear connection between color and the the overall motivation of action was connected there. Now, in the 80s, deeper research was done where it was found that it's colors and patterns together. So we basically took this further and refined our process by basically looking at what image patterns that an individual likes. We can come back with attributes about personality: working style, learning style, dominant, and compatibility attributes. So now let's take this from 30,000 feet down to actionable level by going to the next slide, please, where now we can see our assessment within the BITL ecosystem. In TestGenius, once an individual goes through the process, what will come back is this particular assessment with the working style. Next slide, please. Where we can understand the distribution of the personality qualities that pertain to the professional working environment. In this case, I'm showing you a sample report. This is actually my report, and it shows that artistic, social, and investigative come up as qualities that I have. The next slide shows the learning style, which is the ability that I have to consume information. So these insights are important because our training curriculum and other onboarding type of activities can definitely be catered towards some of these learning style and working style components. The next slide here shows the dominant personality. These are the positive traits that I would bring to a team. And we map those to the compatibility attributes, the following slide, which then will show what team members I might be most compatible with. So as we have this model, so to speak, of insight, we can now show some outputs with regards to engagement insights, how to connect with somebody, how to communicate via email or maybe in person. Next slide shows the incentive programs we might use. Understanding personality also helps us to understand motivation. Once we can understand motivation, we can also see the workplace values. These are the components that somebody would bring to the overall culture of the organization. The outputs are very consumable. If you go to the next slide, please, we see the PDF reports for both admins and individuals, which are second and third person respectively. So we also can now look at the group of people together by looking at the team synergy here. For example, this report is actually would normally have people across both axes, but in this case, we've actually redacted this information. But you can actually look at where there might be strong synergy with the next slide, overlap, and places where you might be able to construct teams of synergy. But even in an opportunity where you might have some people that are that potentially might have some friction. And the next slide, please. We can now find strategies in terms of best engagement. How might we leverage insights with their learning style, for example? Also, throughout the journey, the life cycle can definitely be impacted. Once you start to look at these digital talent analytics, you can start to really drive synergistic mentoring and other types of leadership potential into the equation. The results are definitely in from the market. We have accuracy in the next slide. We have efficiency. We have reduction of bias as compared to traditional methodologies. But I think the most important point is once you start looking at personality, retention and alignment go hand in hand. The next couple slides here are just kind of going through some of our market validations with some of the bigger partners that have vetted us, some of our customers that are across many different verticals. And the key call out here is because we're solving a universal pain point, it's applicable to to many different organizations. Our technology is patented, so we do have defensible IP in that sense, and constantly working on making this a stronger case. Just to close, I'd like to thank everybody for your attention and also for letting me give you a little bit of an overview. Thank you so much, and please feel free to reach out directly to myself or any of the BITL team.
Thank you, Ashish. Now, Chris is going to tell us about Verified First.
Hey guys, Chris Jackson here. I'm a partner relationship manager with Verified First, and yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about Verified First before jumping into the integration we have with TestGenius and how simple it is for HR managers and recruiters to submit a background check right from the cloud system. So Verified First is the fastest growing background company in the US. Our team is 100% US based as well. In fact, our headquarters is based in Boise, Idaho, and we are pretty much empowering organizations to feel confident about the employees they select by redefining what they should expect from a background screening provider. And just a few ways we do this is through our technology, with the help of our in-house compliance team and, of course, our client support team. This has consistently resulted in positive testimonials, and we're currently at a 96% customer satisfaction rate. All that is assisted with the achievements we have listed below and the recognition from the Fast 500 and the other companies listed below. Next slide, please. So background screening improves quality of hire. As someone responsible for making decisions to move forward with a candidate, you want to obviously make sure that the employee that you select is not only the right one, but the most honest when sharing specific details related to their background history. So I strongly believe background checks play a huge part in providing you that insight, and it confirms the information the employee shares up front is accurate. And there's so many various different services we offer that can help with something like this, ranging from employment verifications to ensure the candidate is qualified for the tasks and duties that they're given, to criminal searches that give you insight to potential misdemeanors or felony charges. And this all is to help you maintain a safe work environment and obviously ensure public safety. Next slide, please. So this slide here is an actual screenshot of the integration we have with TestGenius. We integrate through a browser extension, and we're compatible with all the well-known browsers out there, such as Safari, Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, as well as Firefox. And it really is super simple to get started. We allow you to manage the background process from start to finish within the TestGenius cloud solution. And we can customize different searches based off different organizations' needs and guidelines that they're required to follow. So if you're hiring a specific position for your organization, that can be tied to certain packages. So we can bundle those services together. We can really customize it to basically tailor it and fit your needs. A few fields that I do want to highlight within the extension are also, as you know, the information of the applicant scrapes over, so there's no duplicate data entry. We handle that part for you. But the email field is really unique. It allows you to email the applicant the disclosures as well as the consent forms for them to fill out. In addition to that, we also offer a phone number field that you can text the applicant the disclosures and consent form for them to fill out on their mobile phone. And essentially what that does is it improves turnaround time drastically. So on average, it's going to improve the turnaround time of when Verify First starts the background check and finishes the background check by 8 hours, which is essentially a full day. So it's really unique there. If you have a different process to submit a background check and you maybe have a physical consent form in front of you and you have the information you need to submit the background check to Verify First, you also have that option without including the applicant. So you can hit the next button at the bottom there and actually submit the request over to us for us to conduct the background check. Once we're done with the background check, it will return right into the extension and you're able to pull that up right from the TestGenius cloud solution. So you can make a decision based off of the findings of that report as well, right from the platform. So it's really simple to use. And yeah, that's pretty much how it works. Next slide, please, Mike. Great. So I just want to say thank you to Mike and the Biddle Consulting Group for inviting me to today's webinar. And if anyone has any questions regarding our services or the integration we have with TestGenius, I encourage you to reach out to me via email or just give me a quick call. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. So finally, we're moving on to Brigham, who is going to introduce us to True North.
Thank you. True North is an automated oral proficiency testing platform to help you assess your employees' language capability during the recruiting process. We're used by over 600 universities and hundreds of large corporations around the world as well. We have clients in 50 countries and on every continent. So we have a platform that scales. Typically, companies have trouble making language-based hiring decisions because the data takes too long to get and isn't accurate, and they have to use humans We've replaced the human in the language testing process with artificial intelligence. If we can jump to the next slide. Language interviews are time intensive, they're biased, and not scalable. Additionally, most third-party tests, particularly to test someone's oral proficiency, are too costly, they take too long, and the score reports take a few days to a few weeks to come back. Our solution on the next slide provides you with an accurate language score immediately upon completion of the test. Our assessments only take about 15 minutes and can be taken from the computer either at your place of work or at home. This allows you to have an immediate view if you have a Spanish or English-based language requirement for your hires. You'll be able to know if they qualify immediately. It also improves the process and reduces the risk of hiring people who are unqualified for the position. And also in many positions, the language capability can be vital, whether it's in banking or in healthcare or other use cases where having language and the ability to communicate, it can be a life and death situation sometimes. Additionally, the immediate results allow you to screen through candidates quickly and be able to make offers to them immediately, as opposed to making them wait for days or weeks at a time. So overall, our platform, again, is an automated way to assess your candidates' language abilities and to get an immediate score to make hiring decisions. If we can go to the next slide. If you have any more questions about testing your employees' language ability, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm the CEO of True North, and my email is on the slide here below. And Mike and team, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Brigham. So thank you everyone for joining us for today's webinar. We hope that any questions that you had about moving your testing software to the cloud were answered. If you have any product specific questions, feel free to reach out directly to our partners or to us here at TestGenius. And now I'm going to open it up to any additional questions since we have a few more minutes left.
Kali, you see Aaron's asked a question about whether or not there's a NeoGov integration, and I can actually have Nick Brown, who's our NeoGov rep, reach out in response to that particular question.
Thanks, Mike. And Mike, it looks like Christy has asked us another question. She wants to know, what is the cost?
The cost of the program scales based upon the size of the organization, and it's an annual license. And so, Christy, if you're interested in getting a quote, we have our representative's contact information here. If you don't recognize a name, because again, some of our clients have been clients for decades and they don't know who their representative is at this particular point, feel free to reach out to me, mcallan@biddle.com, or give us a call and we'll connect you with the appropriate person and of course get you a quote as quickly as possible.
So it doesn't look like we have any other questions right now. Thank you guys for joining us. We're going to stay on the line for a couple more minutes just in case there's a few more questions that are being typed out right now. But if you are taking off, thanks. And if you have any questions again that are specific, definitely do reach out to us or the panelists.
Well, this is Mike Callan. On behalf of Biddle and our partners, thank you all very much for joining us today. We greatly appreciate your time. Any questions, please let us know and we'll be happy to get back to you as quickly as possible. Thanks again very much and have a great day, everyone.